Welcome to this episode of Dinner with a Side of Murder. On tonight's menu, we have beef stew with the side of the Zodiac Killer. It was December 20th, 1968, when the Zodiac Killer began his reign of terror in San Francisco. He would kill continuously, confirmed, from 1968 to 1969. Totaling 5 confirmed deaths, 2 survivals, and possibly 37 deaths in total. It was 11 p.m. on December 20th, 1968, when 2 high schoolers, David Fairway, 17, and Betty Lou, 16, would be shot multiple times on Lover's Lane and succumb to their injuries. On July 4th, 1969, Michael Mageau, 19 years old, and Darlene Farron, 22 years old, were parked near Blue Rock Spring Park when they were shot multiple times. Michael Mageau survived, but Darlene died at the hospital from all the injuries. It was at this point that Mageau gave the first description of who the Zodiac Killer could possibly be. It was August 1st, 1969, when the killer sent 3 letters to local news outlets claiming to be the killer. He gave very specific details of each murder, and in each letter, he put 3 codes. And in these codes, he would detail who he was and what he wanted to do. He mercilessly taunted the police, daring them to figure out who he was. Within these codes, he promised to reveal his identity. Even the most prolific code crackers couldn't figure out who he was. It wouldn't be till later on that a couple would figure out the code and crack it. But still, his identity remained a mystery. It was September 27, 1969, when Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, would meet the end of their lives. They were picnicking at Lake Berryessa, enjoying each other's company, when Cecilia thought she saw a man hiding in the bushes. They moved away from the area, only to realize they were being stalked. Finally, when they turned around, a man came out from the bushes wearing an executioner's hood, and he began to stab them. He stabbed Brian 6 times. Brian survived. He stabbed Cecilia multiple times, but she would die from her injuries. At the hospital, Brian was questioned about this brutal attack, and all he could say was the man was a tall man, husky, with red hair that he could see through the eye holes of the executioner's hood, and that he was wearing black-rimmed glasses. On the hood was his famous Zodiac symbol. Over the years, there have been many suspects. Let's get into it. The first suspect was Earl Van Best, a local San Francisco writer. His writings piqued the interest of local law enforcement because of the detail he went into when writing his books. They were about murder. Coincidentally, he was not the killer. He just used the murders as inspiration. The next suspect was the guy they really thought would be him. His name was Arthur Lee Allen. He happened to be at Lake Berryessa when the 3rd killing occurred. He told his wife he was going to go scuba diving at the lake, but when he came home, he was covered in blood, and in his car was a bloody knife. Now, if you remember correctly, Brian was stabbed 6 times, and Cecilia was stabbed multiple times and died. But alas, he was not the killer. The FBI finally figured out who the killer was. His name is Gary Francis Post. He died in 2018. Enjoy your meal. Good night.